Yes. So in yesterday's class, we are trying to discuss. So what is the exception? So how to handle the exception? So if there is an exception, so what are the problems? So how to handle the exceptions? So by using try catch blocks, right? So and yesterday we discussed about so what kind of code we will write inside the try block and what kind of code we will write inside the catch block, right? So if a exception is raised, who is responsible? The method is responsible to create the exception object by collecting the exception name, exception description, and exception stack trace. Right? So it will create one object and it will forward that object to catch block. If the corresponding catch block is matched, so the corresponding catch block will be executed. So in the corresponding catch block, we can display the exception details or we can do some other task also. Right? So for displaying the exception details, so we might be using, right? So we can use either get message method or print stack trace method or toString method, or directly you can print the reference. So in these four ways you can get the exception details. So if you want only exception name and description, then you can go ahead with a directly printing of reference, or you can directly call toString method. Anyhow, both are same. If you want all the details including the stack trace, then you can go ahead with the print stack trace method. So print stack trace method will not return anything. So print stack trace method return type is void type. That's why I am not using the system.out.println statement here. Directly it will print the details, right? So get message method, it will print only the description of the exception, right? So we discussed this and we discussed about so what is the runtime stack mechanism. So how the runtime stack mechanism will work? So uh, when the JVM is trying to start executing, so first it will create a thread. The thread name is main thread. So main thread will create a runtime stack. That means for every thread, it will maintain a runtime stack. So inside the runtime stack, so for every method call, there is a entry, right? So for every method call, there is a entry. So like that, so yesterday we discussed from main method to m1 method, m1 method to m2 method, m2 method to m3 method. So inside the m3 method, if there is some code, the code will be executed. So if the code is completely executed, so m3 method is completed, then it will remove the m3 method from the stack and it will go to the caller method. That means who called the m3 method, that is m2. So m2 will be completed, right? So like that m2 is completed, then it will goes to m1 method, that is the caller method. M1 is completed, then it will go to caller method, main method. Main is completed, then it will go to the JVM, right? So in this process, if you are facing any exception anywhere, so that method will be responsible for creating the exception object and hand over it to the caller method. So in this case, what happened? First, JVM will verify. So either exception handling code is there or not. If it is not there, so the method will be terminated abnormally, and it will goes to the caller method and it will verify inside the caller method is there any exception handling code. If exception handling code is there, the program will be executed normally. Otherwise, so it will terminate from that m2 method also, that particular method, and it will goes to the caller method, right? That is abnormal termination of that particular method and it will goes to the caller method. So inside the caller method, it will verify is there any exception handling code. So this process will be continued until the main method is completed. Inside the main method also, if exception handling code is not there, the program will be terminated abnormally, right? That means m3 method will not be executed, m2 will not be executed, m1 not executed, main is not executed. So it will hand over the details to the JVM. So inside the JVM, there is a component default exception handler. So default exception handler will take care of all these exceptions and it will print the exception details on the console. So we discussed all these things in yesterday's code, right? So now I will ask, so just we will try to see the control flow in try catch blocks. So how the control flow in try catch blocks. So control flow in try catch block. Yeah, చెప్పండి. అవునమ్మా. అదే అది ఇక్కడ ఎస్ఓపి స్టేట్మెంట్ రాయలేదు ఎందుకనేది. సో ఇలా రాస్తే ఏం జరిగింది అనేది డౌట్. సో సిస్టమ్ డాట్ అవుట్ డాట్ ప్రింట్ అని ఇక్కడ రాస్తే ఏం జరిగింది. సో యాక్చువల్గా ఇక్కడ నువ్వు ఏం చేస్తున్నావు, యూఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు ప్రింట్ సమ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ హియర్ ఇన్ ద కన్సోల్. సో at this time you are trying to call this method. If this method is returning some value to you, then you can print the data. If this method is not returning any value to you, it is not possible to print the data. If this method is returning some value, then you can print the data. Suppose like this, suppose integer x equal to 10 is there. So system.out.println, you are printing x, so that means x is returning 10 value to you. Suppose one method is there. Consider I am writing a method somewhere. Consider here itself I will write. Okay. Here void m1. So if I call m1 method, println. Suppose here if I call m1 method, system.out.println of m1. Consider this is static or something. No problem. Just try to call the method m1 method here. So what will happen? So try to understand in that way. So if I call m1 method, so m1 method will be called, it will be printed this line, so it will not return anything to you. If it is not returning anything to you, so what you will print here? You cannot print anything. If a method return type is void, in that case you cannot print the data using SOP statement, right? In the same way, so if you call print stack trace method return type is void type. Print stack trace method return type is void type, so that's why you are unable to print. It will not return anything. You cannot print anything, right? So print stack trace method is available in which class? You can take any exception class. Java.lang package, right? Exception. So actually we are calling this one print stack trace on top of e reference. E means exception. So go to exception class. Here is the exception, cnums exceptions, abcde exception class. So open the print stack trace method summary. See this one, print stack trace. So method summary section, print stack trace method. Print stack trace method return type don't have anything. So that means the method is not returning anything. In that case, it is not possible to print the data by using SOP statement. If it is returning something, you can print the data. I hope you are getting the point. రైట్. సో అర్థం కాకపోతే చెప్పంటే చెప్తానమ్మా, నాకేం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. చెప్పాలి మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి ఏమన్నా? రైట్. సో ఒకసారి చెప్తాను చూడు, తెలియకపోతే ఏముంది దాంట్లో. సో ఐ రిమూవ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్, రైట్. సో ఐ హ్యావ్ ఏ మెథడ్, one method is there. Hello statement is there. Suppose consider this method is having, okay, no problem. I will write one more method, integer m2 method. So m2 method return type here. So both are static methods, right? So I am calling m1 and I am calling m2 also here. So if you call m1, so what is the m1 method will be called, m1 method will be executed. M1 method don't return anything, so why? Because return type is void. So in this case you directly call it, so it will execute this code, that is okay. So if you call m2, what will happen? If you call m2 method will be called, m2 method is executing, m2 method is returning some value. So if you want to store this value in some variable, you can take one variable here and you can store it. So you will store, you don't store, that is up to you. If you don't store also, nothing will happen. So just I will call like this, either it is able, you are able to compile successfully or not, we will check. Compile the code, trying to execute it. ABCD, sorry, actually the file name is ABCD, not ABC. Java C ABCD dot Java. Java ABCD, right? So you are getting hello and M2 method. So you are getting hello and M2 method. Now if you are trying to print this M2 method, M2 method, okay, consider static is also not there. So create an object here, right? So how to call A dot? How to call A dot? So why I am calling A dot? Because there E dot print stack trace is there. So in the same way I am trying to call. See here, so if you are using system.out.println and you are calling the M2 method, what will happen? So M2 method will be called, M2 method will be executed, M2 method is returning some value, that value will come here. A 10 will be printed by this SOP statement. If it is returning something, you can print the data. The method is executing. After method execution, it is returning some value. The return value will be printed here. If it is returning something, you can print the data. If it is not returning anything, if you are trying to print, you will get compile time error. Right. So I am compiling it now, abcd.java. So executing. So you are getting hello statement, M1 method, M2 method, then 10 return value. So 10 return value from here, not somewhere. Right. Compile, execute, you are getting the 10 value. Suppose if you are trying to apply SOP statement here, M1 method is not returning any value, then how you will print the return value? M1 method is not returning anything, so how you will collect the data and how you will print the data here? It's not possible, right? So if you are trying to compile it, you will get compile time error. Void type not allowed here. So that means you cannot print void. That means the method is not returning anything. How, what you will print, right? So if you are unable to understand this one, you just try like this: integer sum x equal to this. So this is the M1 method. M1 method is not returning anything. What you will store? You cannot store anything. If you are trying for M2 method, that is no problem. Because M2 method is returning integer value, you can store the value in x variable of integer type. You can print that x here, no problem. Right? Same process. Here you don't get any compile time error. Right? So if you are trying the same, if you are trying the same for M1 method, if you are trying the same for M1 method, you will get compile time error. Why? Because M1 is not returning anything. M1 is not returning anything. What you will collect, what you will store, what you will print. That's not possible. Right. So in the same way, your program also, that print stack trace method. Like this one. So if you are trying to print here, so it is not returning any value, so it will throw compile time error. In this case, it will throw compile time error. Right, saying that same error message. See here, void cannot, not this one, earlier case. Void type is not allowed here. So this is, you cannot print any data. Just remove it, you don't get any error. Okay. So we'll continue the class. Right. So control flow in try catch blocks. So only try catch blocks will be there. So I will write some statement. So if there is an exception, so what line of code will be executed, you have to tell me. Right. So I hope you are able to understand this code. Nothing is there in this program, just class, main method. You are calling m1 method. M1 is a static method, you can call it directly, no problem. So now inside this m1 method, so I will write just statements. So you have to tell me the answer, that's it. So like this, I have three statements inside the try block. So I will write a try block here, try block, right? Then catch block, right? So inside the try block, so inside the try block, I have three statements: statement one, statement two, and statement three. So inside the catch block, I have a statement four. So after the catch block, I have statement five. Now you have to tell me if there is no exception. If there is no exception at line number 1, 2, 3, and this is 4, this is 5. Right. So if there is no exception at line number 1, 2, 3, and 5, then what is the output? So you don't have exception at line number 1 or line number 2 or line number 3. So normal statements, all these are normal statements. So if you don't have exception at line number 1, 2, 3, and 5, so what is the output? Right. So what is the output? So in this case, what will happen? So you will get uh, main method execution. So main method will call m1 method. M1 method is executing. M1 method will execute the try block. So inside the try block, so this line don't have exception. It will print statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. So it will execute these three statements. You don't have any exception. Then it won't go to catch block. So catch block will not be executed in this case. So automatically it will come out and it will execute this line number statement 5. So that means you will get 1, 2, 3, and 5 as output. If there is no exception, you will get the output as a line number 1, 2, 3, and 5. So compiling the code, executing the code, you are getting 1, 2, 3, and 5 statements. Suppose if there is an exception at line number 2, in this case, if there is an exception, so what will happen? What is the output here? So I added some code here. System.out.println statement 2. So while printing the statement 2, I am trying to calculate 10 by 0. So 10 by 0 means, so here it will throw arithmetic exception. Right? So arithmetic exception is raised at line number 2. That means statement 2. In this case, what is the output? So first it will print at this statement 1. Then exception is raised. If the exception is raised, it will collect the exception details. It will create an object and it will forward the object to catch block. That means the statement 3 will not be executed. As part of the try block, you identified an exception at line number 2. The remaining statements of try block will not be executed. So it will automatically goes to catch block. If the corresponding catch block is matched, this line will be executed. Statement 4 will be executed. If there is no exception in the statement 4, then it will come out and it will execute statement 5. So in this case, output will be statement 1, statement 4, and statement 5. Right. So you have to understand, if there is an exception, then only catch block will be executed. So here line number 2, exception is there. So catch block will be executed. Inside this catch block, if there is no exception, then remaining code will be executed. That means statement 1, statement 4, and statement 5 will be the output. So compile the code, execute the code, you are getting statement 1 first. Then exception is there. Exception is there, so remaining statements are not executed. That means statement 3 is not executed, directly executing statement 4. So you are not printing any exception details. You are not using this reference. That's why you are not getting any exception details here. You are not printing it. So directly exception catch block is executed, then remaining part is executing. Right. That's why you are getting this result. Right. Suppose exception is raised here. Exception is raised here, and the corresponding catch block is not matched. Suppose here some exception is there. So what is the meaning of corresponding catch block is not matched? So here try block is trying to execute. So try block is trying to execute. So inside the try block, statement 1 is printed, and it is trying to print the statement 2. So there is an exception. Here it is raising arithmetic exception. So it will create object of arithmetic exception and description stack trace everything, and it will try to forward the object to this catch block. Here the exception is arithmetic exception type, but here the exception name is null pointer exception type. So there must be a relationship between these two exceptions, arithmetic exception and null pointer exception. If there is a relationship, then it won't throw any error. That means it is not matching catch block. So here it is raising arithmetic exception, but we are catching null pointer exception. Arithmetic exception is different, null pointer exception is different. That means whatever the exception it is raising and whatever the exception you are handling, both are different. So in that case, this catch block is not matched. If the corresponding catch block is not matched, so in that case, that is abnormal termination only. It won't execute the remaining statements. It won't execute the remaining statement. That means you don't get the line number 5 also. Statement 5 also you don't get. In this case, you will get the output only statement 1. So corresponding catch block is not matched, abnormal termination. So compile, execute. So you are getting only statement 1. After that, no statement 3. Why? Because exception is raised, no statement 3. Catch block is not matched, no statement 4. So catch block is not matched means, that means you are not handling the exception. So abnormal termination. That's why JVM is taking care of. So these details are printing by default exception handler. Right. Suppose if there is an exception at line number 4, what will happen? If there is an exception at line number 4. See this case. So there is an exception at line number 2 and line number 4. What will happen? So try block is trying to execute. It will print the statement 1. Then there is an exception in this line. So automatically it will create the exception object and it will forward to catch block. So here there is a relationship between exception, arithmetic exception and exception parent-child relationship is there. So no problem. It will handle this. It will match the catch block. So in this case, statement 1 will be printed. After that, so it moved to catch block, but inside the catch block there is an exception. Arithmetic exception is there. To handle this arithmetic exception, you don't have try catch block inside the catch block. So that means this is also abnormal termination. In this case also you will get statement 1 only as output. Statement 1, remaining statements will be exception name, exception description, stack trace details. Compile, execute, you are getting the details. Statement 1, same output. Right. Suppose if there is a null pointer exception, the exception name will be changed here. Right. Right. So are you able to understand? Yeah, someone please respond. Now, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. If you are unable to understand, please don't be silent. Please ask me. Right. So this is the flow. in a single try catch block, right? Suppose someone please tell me if there is exception here, what will happen? If there is no exception, if there is exception here, what will happen? In this case, what is the output? 1, 2, 3. That's it, huh? 5, 5 would have, right? So statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, no exception, right? Catch block won't go. Exception is not there, it won't execute the catch block. Then statement 5 will be executed. Suppose if there is exception here, not only 10 by 0, you can write other exceptions also. I will tell what are the other exceptions, in which scenario you will get those. In this case, what is the output? Statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, okay. Then, so it won't go to catch block. It is trying to print the statement 5. At the statement 5, it is throwing arithmetic exception. So that means between this line, this line is not surrounded with try catch block. That means exception handling code is not there as part of this line. So automatically JVM will take care. That means statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. After that, so exception details which are provided by the JVM. So compile and execute, you will get the 1, 2, 3, then exception details. So suppose multiple catch blocks. Okay, no problem. There is another scenario. Just we will see what are the exceptions we can face. So you already know what is arithmetic exception. Suppose I have a array here. So if I am trying to print array of 11th location, so what will happen? So what will happen here? Right. So in this case, you have only 10 locations. You are trying to pick the data from 11th location. So in this case, what kind of error it will throw? So array index out of bound exception. Out of bounds exception. Right. So if you want to see, just to remove this try catch blocks. Right. So compile the code. So you will get array index out of bound exception. Right. So execute the code. So you are getting array index out of bound exception. Why? Because you have only 10 locations. You are trying to pick the value from 11th location. It is not possible. Right. So how to handle this one? So same case. So I'm not writing. Okay. So you know what is this exception. So I hope you know this one also. Integer some x equal to 10 by 0 means here it will be arithmetic exception. Right. So then what about this one? String some s equal to right. So what is this case? So I commented these three. So you already know. So this is arithmetic exception. You already know. So this is a array index out of bound exception. Just now we executed. So in this case, string s equal to null. So that means string is not pointing to anything. So class is not pointing to anything. You are trying to find out the length of a string. So in this case, what will happen? Suppose some name is there. So like this. So what you are trying to do here? So you assigned a string with A B C D E F G H. So you are trying to calculate how many characters are there in the string, right? By applying length property. Compile, execute. You are getting length method. Sorry, right? So compile the code. You are getting the length of the characters. So 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Total 8 characters are there. Right. Suppose in place of after some time you assigned s with null. you assign with the default value. So A, B, C, D, F, G, H is not pointing. So now it is pointing to null. So on top of null, you are trying to calculate the null value, sorry, length value. So what will happen? So it will throw null pointer exception. So compile the code, execute the code, you are getting null pointer exception. So in this case, what we will get? So null pointer exception, right? So there is a class called thread class. Okay, so if you want to see some exception names, so you can see what kind of exceptions we will get. So just to make you comfortable, so what kind of exceptions are there, I'm trying to explain this one, right? So null pointer exception you already know, array index out of bound exception you already know. I hope one day I explained a stack overflow error. So one day I explained stack overflow error, right? So anyone remember when we will get stack overflow error? Stack overflow error. So when we will get stack overflow error? If the methods are calling recursively, then we will get stack overflow error. So I told you one day, right? Here, here. So ABCD class is there. So inside the ABCD class main method is calling M3 method. So M3 method is called, M3 is calling M4, M4 is calling M3. So M3 method you are calling M4, M4 method you are calling M3 method. So that means what will happen here? So first main method, so JVM will create a main thread. So main thread will create a runtime stack with empty runtime stack. So for every method call, there is a entry in that stack. So first it will enter main method in the stack, then it will enter M3 method in the stack. From M3 method, it will enter M4 in the stack. From M4 method, it will enter M3 method. Again M3 method, M4 method. Again M4 method, M3 method. So like this stack will be keep on filling. So there is a length for that stack. So if the length is reached, it will throw stack overflow error. So I hope you are getting the point. So yesterday I told you, right? So there is a runtime stack like this. So runtime stack is here. So for every method call there is entry. First it will enter. I am not writing every time stack. So first there is a method call for M1 method. So after that from M1, so main method will call M3 method, right? So then again, so main method, then M3 method, and M3 method will call M4 method, right? So from M4 method, again you will call M3 method. From M3 method, again you will call M4 method. From M4, again M3. Like this, the process will be continued. So it will not end. So the recursive method calling. So what is the stack size? The stack size will be some limit will be there. So that means the stack will be overflowed. So that's why you are getting overflow error. So this is also you will face at runtime only, right? So I'm compiling the code. Where is my code? Right. This one, the remaining code I am commenting. So anyhow, I am not calling M1 method. So I'm calling M3 from M3 to M4, M4 to M3. That's it. So compile the code, execute the code. Right. See here. Stack overflow error. So this is here it is showing that error, but when you are getting this error message at runtime, if you are getting the error message at runtime, that is called exception. Okay. So this is also one kind of exception. So this exception type is error type, right? So exceptions errors are there. In exceptions only exceptions and errors are there, right? So this type is error type, stack overflow error, right? So this is one kind of exception, right? I hope you are getting the point here. So if there is a recursive method call, right? So recursive method call until you will get a stack overflow error. I am commenting this code, right? Anyhow, I am calling the regular method, right? So there, just I am trying to show what kind of exceptions are there. Maybe you know only this one, right? As of now, you maybe know only this one, arithmetic exception, right? Maybe some people know this one also, right? So array index out of bound exception. So this is a null pointer exception. Here also, if you are applying on top of string, if you are trying to apply, if you are trying to pick a character which is not there, so that time you will get a string index out of bound exception also, right? So we will try that one also. String some x equal to abcd is there, right? So I'm trying to get caret method of 10th location. So total how many characters are there? 1 2 3 4 characters are there. So I am trying to apply a method char at method. So char at method is trying to pick a character from the 10th location of the given string. That means abcd string is there in that string, so it is trying to pick the character from the 10th location, but it is having only 4 locations, 0 including 0 3 locations only. So if you are trying to pick the value from 10th location, what will happen? So compile the code, execute the code. So you are getting one more exception, that is a string index out of bound exception. So I'm just trying to make you people, there are different exception types, right? So you need to face this exception at least once. So then only you can remember this, right? So this is one scenario. So string index out of bound exception. There is one more scenario, class cast exception. So when you are trying to typecast it, that time you will get the exception, right? So I'm trying to explain that one also. So there is a string some s equal to some new string, or you can directly assign abcd, right? So if you are trying to convert so subclass type to superclass type, right? So in this case, what is happening? So you created string object. So string object string with abcd. So what you are trying to do? You are trying to convert string to object format. That means parent child type to parent type. So in this case, what will happen? It is not possible to convert from child type to parent type. Parent to child is possible, but reverse is not possible. In this case, you will get class cast exception. So compile, execute. Sorry, what happened? I didn't call it or what? M1 method. Sorry. This is reverse, not a child to parent. This is parent to child. Object O equal to new object. So try to convert object type to string type. So parent to child, not child to parent. So parent to child. Parent object is there. So you are trying to convert the parent object to child object type. So in this case, try. So you are getting class cast exception, right? So class cast exception. So whenever you are trying to convert parent to child, so that time you will get class cast exception. So I'm commenting this one, right? So no class definition found exception also is there. No class definition found here. So suppose you just compile the code, you compile, sorry. So compile the code, you compiled it. After that, what you will do, you go to that location, E drive, daily classes. So E drive daily classes. So try to remove that dot class file. So what is your dot class file name? ABCD dot class file. So I am trying to delete this file. Shift delete, deleted. Now you try to execute the code ABCD. Right, you are getting class not found exception. Right. So class not found exception when you will get if the dot class file is not available. At runtime, so you will get this error. So class not found exception. Right. Then there are some other errors also. So initialization exception is there. So initialization exception means suppose if you take some variable here itself, you can take some variable integer some I equal to so 10 by 0. So 10 by 0 means it will throw arithmetic exception. Okay, what I will do. So I will take okay try at a initial level integer some I equal to 10 by 0. So make it as a static variable. So try to compile this code, try to execute it. Right, you are getting exception in initialization error. Right, so it is not possible to initialize a value, so that is throwing arithmetic exception at the time of initialization. Right, so at runtime you are not getting that error. So but while initializing a value, while initializing a variable, so if you are initializing invalid value, in that case you will get this error. So exception in initialization error. Right, so this is invalid. So in case of instance variable also, compile, execute. Sorry, hold on, is compiled or not? Compile, execute. Okay, we'll see. No, we didn't create an object, that is the problem. So we didn't created the object, right? Till now we didn't create an object, that's why memory is not allocated. Right. So now try, compile, execute, you are getting arithmetic exception only. Right. So that is for static variables, you are getting initialization exception error, exception in initialization. Maybe at that will happen at the time of class loading. Right. So for integer values, for instance variables, you will get arithmetic exception only. For static variables, you will get initialization exception. Right. So there are some other exception also, like a thread state exception is there, illegal thread state exception. So I will show that one also. So create there is a class called thread class, thread class. So I'm creating a thread class object. This is a predefined class. So I created object for thread class. So for every thread there is a priority. So the priority must be within the range from 1 to 10. So for setting the priority, we will apply set priority method. So while setting the priority, the range must be within 1 to 10. 1 to 10. So if you are crossing this limit, so you will get illegal argument exception. So now I am passing 10. So in this case, you don't get any error. Right, so that is because of first line. I didn't commented it. Right, so compile the code, no error, execute the code, no error. Suppose if you are trying to change the parameter, suppose 100, so this is invalid. If you are passing invalid argument, then you will get illegal argument exception. So try to compile the code, try to execute the code, you are getting illegal argument exception. right? So in this case you will get a illegal argument exception, right? So these are some important exception names. So there are some other exceptions also. So if you want, I will go through it. Okay. Suppose there is a number. If you are trying to convert a string to number, so what will happen? Right. Suppose a number is there 10. So number 10 is there, but this is in string format. A string is there. String value is assigned with 10. So if you want to convert the string to the integer, then you can take integer variable. There is a wrapper class integer class. So in that there is a method parse int method. So for this parse int method, if you pass a string, so the string will be converted into integer. So if you are trying to print I value, so it will be printed 10. So in this case, what is happening? S is there, S is assigned with a 10 number, but it is in string format, double colon start, double colon end. So if number is in string format, to convert the string to integer, you can apply integer.parseInt method. So for the parseInt method, if you pass a string, that will be converted into integer number. Integer will be printed on the output. So trying to print executed 10 is the result. Suppose this is not a number, this is a characters. 10 is there. Now this is not possible to convert the characters into number. So you cannot convert the characters into numbers. So in this case, you will get error number format exception. Right? So here you are getting number format exception. Number format exception. Right. So I'm commenting these lines. Right. So there is another exception also. So if the thread is starting more than one time, you will get illegal state exception. So I'm trying to create a thread. I created a thread. So thread T1. So I can start a thread by using T1.start method. So in multi-threading, you will understand this concept. So one time starting thread is okay, valid. So you just compile and execute. You don't get any error. That is valid. So if you are trying to start the thread one more time, one already thread is started, again you are trying to start it, then you will get runtime error saying that illegal thread state exception. Right? Illegal thread state exception. So this is one more exception. Right? So there are some other exception also. Exception hierarchy is there. If you want to see, if you, some other exception means like a file not found exception, IOI exception, number format exception you already saw, right? So checked exception, remote exception are there, serializable exception is there, so clonable exception is there. So there are different exceptions, right? So generally, maybe you know only this arithmetic exception. That's why I'm trying to show you. So what are the different exceptions are there? Right? So I hope you are able to understand what is arithmetic exception, when you will get this. So what it is a array index out of bound exception, when you will get it. So null point exception, if you are trying to perform any operation on null object, right? So string index out of bound exception. So without if you are crossing the string length, then if you are trying to fetch the details, you will get this one. Class cast exception. So parent type to child type conversion type, you will get this exception. Then class not found exception. If the dot class file is not available, then you will get this class not found exception. Illegal argument exception for a thread class or any method, not for any method. So some priorities levels are there. If you are crossing that limit, then you will get illegal argument exception. So number format exception, when you are trying to convert the numbers, so from string type to some other types, if it is not unable to convert it, you will get this one. Then illegal thread state exception, if the thread is already started, if you are trying to start it one more time, you will get that one. So stack overflow error, you already saw. So if a method is keep on calling recursively, then you will get stack overflow error. So constructor recursive calling will makes you compile time error, that is recursive method calling. So exception in initialization error for the static variables at the time of assigning a value, you will get this one, right? So these are the different exception names. So you might remember all these things. Not only these, some other checked exceptions also there, so you have to remember those also, right? So now we are discussing exception handling concept. So in your program, if there is a chance to raise this many number of different type of exceptions, then how you will handle it, right? So the question is, so in your program, if there is a chance to raise different exceptions, not only single exception, if there is a chance to raise a different type of exceptions, then how you will handle the exception? So in that case, yeah, in that case we will go ahead with multiple catch blocks. So it is not only try with catch, so you can write try with multiple catch blocks. Try with multiple catch blocks you can write, right? So that one we will try to understand. Class name, right? Main method, right? So inside the main method, so I will write two statements to raise two different exceptions, right? You already know. So I will write one for null pointer exception, one for array index out of bound exception. Integer sum a equal to new array of 10 locations, and I am taking one string as equal to hello, right? So I am using one for loop. I am trying to print all the data of array. So not required, you can write a simple statement only, but every time writing simple statement means maybe you can write array of 5. That's it. Then so I'm trying to print a system.out.println yes dot you can get some character, right? You can apply caret method only. Caret method of some 8th location. You don't have 8 locations, you are trying to fetch 8 locations. So in this case, what will happen? In this case, main method will be executed. So only one thread will be there. So it will create runtime stack, no method calls at all. So main thread, only one entry will be there. That entry, as part of that entry, it is trying to complete this code. So it will initialize the array with the default values zeros and assign with hello. It is trying to print first 0 to array of length. So that means that total values 10 values it will printed, all are zeros, and you are trying to print 8th location value. 8 locations are not there. Here it will throw error. So that is a null pointer exception, right? So try to execute it. You will get faster 10 zeros. Sorry, not this program. So Java C Java, right? What happened? So this is invalid. This is a new int. Compile. So try to execute it. So you are getting 10 zeros. Then you are getting string index out of bound exception. Suppose in place of this, so if you are trying to get a value of 10th location or 11th location, then in this case, first the error will be this line only. So it won't go to this line. Sorry, array of right. So here there is a chance to raise two exceptions. There is a chance to raise two exceptions, but first line itself it is getting exception, and it won't go to next line. So it will array index out of bound exception. That one you already know, right? So it won't execute remaining line. Array index out of bound exception is there. That means in this program there is a chance to raise string index out of bound exception, array index out of bound exception. Both exceptions are there. That will be based on the runtime value. Suppose if the programmer is assigned this value as 11, or this value as a 0, or this value as a 100, so that will be based on that runtime value. So you can take runtime value something. So I will try to get the value from the user. If the user is entered valid, right. So in this case, see, so first I am asking the user to enter the location of array location. So second case I am asking string location. Suppose in both cases, if the user is entered valid number, you will get the output. So I'm trying to execute the program to compile it. What happened? Scanner S already S is there. Huh? So compile the code, no errors, execute the code. First it is asking you to enter the array location. If I enter 2, so 2 location value will be printed, then it will ask the string value. So 2 location value is printed, then it is asking you to enter the string location. If I give 2 again here, so in 2 place what is the character is there, it will be printed. So 0, 1, 2, that means L will be printed. So no exception. If the user is entered valid location numbers, then no exception. Suppose if you are trying to execute it, so if the user is entered a valid location for array, array is printed. If the user is not entered a valid location for a string, then it will raise exception. Exception is raised. The same way, if the user is entered a invalid location number for array, exception is raised. It won't go to next one. Right. So in this case, there may be a chance to raise two different exceptions. How to handle two different exceptions? So you can handle this one by using multiple catch blocks. Try with multiple catch blocks. So what I will do, I will just take this line, Control X, and I will paste here. Right. So now I will write try and catch blocks here. So first try block. So try block is ended. Try block is ended. So here you can write any number of catch blocks. Right. So first one you are getting arithmetic exception AE. So you can give AE means that is just a starting character of first word, starting character of second word. That's it. Reference name. So you can write another catch block. So you are getting string index out of bound exception, string index out of bound exception. Not required to keep that much big name. It's okay. You can write another exception, another case also, catch block. So you can write any other exception, a right thread state exception, illegal state. This is also one kind of error, illegal access error. Okay, illegal access error. You can take anything. So then you can write multiple catch block exception XCPTION. Right. So one try block with multiple catch blocks. Why? Because inside the try block there may be a chance to raise different kind of exceptions. For handling different kind of exceptions, one catch block is not enough. So for handling for one type of exception, one catch block. Another type of exception, another catch block is required. So why? Because we can handle the exceptions in different ways. For one exception, there may be a handling case is different. For other exception, we can handle that exception in different way. So that's why multiple catch blocks are required. Right. So in this, you can write. So I'm not writing, just I'm adding arithmetic exception. Right here, I will add string out of bound exception. So here I will add something, whatever the exception is there, that one. Now based on the, now we are already handling the exception by using try catch blocks. So now I will ask the user to enter the values. I am trying to compile it, executing. So if I enter invalid number, so array location 11, 11 is not there. So string location, so 8 is also not there, right? So okay, give some valid one, right? So first it is trying to fetch the value first array location. So that means, so here this location, this will be failed here. So if it is failed, automatically it will goes to arithmetic exception block. You no need to write in the same line, so you can keep here also. First you can maintain string out of bound exception, second you can maintain arithmetic exception, no problem here. In this case, if there is no parent child relationship, you can write anyway. But while writing the exceptions, if there is a parent child relationship, from child to parent you need to write the order. Okay, if you have a doubt, we'll see that one. First let me try. So in this case you will get arithmetic exception. First it will go here and it will execute. So it is throwing exception here, arithmetic exception. Sorry, we didn't return array index out of bound exception. So actually this is array index out. Okay, no problem, I will add here array index out of bound exception. So now try to compile it. So compile, execute. So give the 11th location, give some to illegal, right? I didn't say, I didn't change this exception name. So compile the code, execute the code. So give 11, give some number. You are getting array index out of bound exception, right? So what will happen? First it is raising a arithmetic exception here. So it will collect the details and it will forward. It will create an object. It will forward that object to first catch block. But raised is arithmetic array index out of bound exception. Here the exception name is arithmetic exception. Both are not matching. So it will forward it to next catch block. So here also it is not matching. So it will forward to next catch block. Next catch block is matched. So this one will be executed. So if the corresponding catch block is executed, then only it will be executed but the catch block. If it is not matched, so that will be abnormal termination only. Right.